Hi, I'm Macy, and before I continue, please like and subscribe. One click from you means more stories can be shared. Help us reach 1,000 subscribers and make a difference. Let's begin. Growing up in Westlake wasn't easy for a kid with big dreams. I had always been the responsible one, even at 12 years old, while my sister Vanessa got away with everything. That particular Tuesday morning seemed ordinary. Mom and Dad claimed we were going on a family trip. Macy, grab your backpack. We need to pick up Vanessa from her friend's house on the way, Mom said, jangling her car keys. Why can't she just meet us at home? I packed last night like you asked, I said, hefting my backpack. Dad glanced at Mom with that look they shared when they were hiding something. Don't question your mother. We're running late. The ride to the bus station was quiet. When we pulled up, Dad turned around with an envelope. We need you to wait here. Give this to your aunt when she arrives, he said, handing me the envelope and $20. Buy yourself a snack. We'll be back in an hour. Why can't I come with you to get Vanessa? I asked, confused. Mom's smile didn't reach her eyes. Just wait here, sweetie. Aunt Clara is coming to meet you. I sat on that bench for 6 hours. No Aunt Clara, no parents, no Vanessa. Just a 12-year-old with a backpack and an envelope addressed to a relative who never existed. When I finally opened it, the note simply read, "We can't do this anymore. You'll be better off with social services." 15 years passed. I graduated college, built a marketing agency from scratch, bought my dream home, and found real love with Andrew. My life was perfect, until last Tuesday when my phone rang with an unknown number. Hello? I answered, scanning reports for an important client meeting. Macy? Is that really you? The voice was familiar but aged. Who is this? It's Mom, sweetie. We found you. My blood ran cold. I'm not your sweetie. What do you want? Please don't hang up, she said quickly. We've been trying to find you for years. Really? Because I've been in the same city the entire time. Not exactly hiding. I kept my voice level despite the anger boiling inside. Can we meet? Your father and I. We need to talk to you. Against my better judgment, I agreed to coffee the next day. When Andrew came home, I told him everything. You're actually meeting them? After what they did? Andrew asked, wrapping his arms around me. I need to see their faces when I tell them exactly what they did to me, I said. 15 years of nightmares, therapy, and fighting my way through the system. Do you want me to come? No, I need to do this alone. But stay close to your phone. The next day, I arrived early at the coffee shop and picked a table in the corner. When they walked in, the years had not been kind. Mom's dyed blonde hair couldn't hide the deep wrinkles. Dad stooped slightly. His once commanding presence diminished. Macy, Mom gasped, reaching for me. I stepped back. Don't touch me. Sit down and tell me why you're here. They exchanged glances before sitting across from me. You look so beautiful, Dad said. So successful. No thanks to you, I replied. Why now, after 15 years? Mom fidgeted with her purse. We've made terrible mistakes, Macy. We were young, overwhelmed. I was 12. I cut in. Try another excuse. You don't understand what we were going through, Dad said, leaning forward. Your mother lost her job. We were behind on mortgage payments. And abandoning your child at a bus station was your solution? I asked, keeping my voice low despite wanting to scream. We thought Clara would come, Mom whispered. She promised she would. This fictional aunt again? Stop lying to me. Dad cleared his throat. Your sister Vanessa has gotten herself into trouble. She has 3 kids now, and she's going to jail, Mom finished. Drugs. The children need a home, and we're too old to raise them properly. I laughed without humor. And you thought of me? The daughter you abandoned at a bus station? You're successful, Dad said, gesturing vaguely. You have a nice car, good clothes. You could give them a good life. Where are these kids now? With us, temporarily. Child Services is giving us 30 days to find family placement before they enter foster care, Mom explained. Foster care, I repeated. Like I did. We're so sorry about that, Mom said, reaching for my hand. If we could do it again. But you can't, I interrupted. Tell me more about Vanessa's situation. Vanessa always struggled after you were gone, Dad said, as if I should feel guilty. She fell in with a bad crowd. She blamed herself, Mom added. Thought we sent you away because we could only afford to keep one child. Is that what you told her? I asked, disgusted. Dad looked away. We told her what she needed to hear. They spent 20 minutes explaining how Vanessa had married young, had 3 children, twins Jason and Jacob, 8 and Lily, 5, before her husband left. She'd turned to drugs, neglected the kids, and finally got caught selling to an undercover officer. The kids are good kids, Dad insisted. They just need stability. Like I needed? I asked quietly. Give me a day to think about it. I'll meet the children tomorrow. When I left, I called Karen immediately. They've got some nerve, Karen said when I finished telling her everything. What are you going to do? Something they'll never expect, I replied. Can you come over tonight? I need help planning. That evening, Karen and Andrew helped me map out exactly what would happen next. The following afternoon, I drove to my parents' shabby rental home. The children were exactly as they had described. Beautiful, nervous, and clearly neglected. Lily clung to a ratty, stuffed unicorn, while the twins watched me suspiciously. Hi, guys, I said gently. I'm your Aunt Macy. Are you taking us home with you? Jacob asked bluntly. Not today, but maybe soon. Would you like to go play outside while I talk with your grandparents? Are you going to make them cry like yesterday? Jason asked, eyes wide. I smiled. What makes you think that? Grandma was crying after you left. Said you were mean, Lily whispered, clutching her unicorn tighter. I knelt down to her level. Sometimes grown-ups cry when they remember mistakes they've made. It doesn't mean anyone was being mean. Our mom made mistakes too, Jacob said. That's why she's in jail. Do you miss her? I asked carefully. Sometimes, Jason answered. But she was always sleeping or yelling or gone. Do you have kids? Lily asked suddenly. No, but my husband Andrew and I have a big house with a yard and a dog named Rocket. A real dog? Lily's eyes lit up. A real, very fluffy dog who loves kids, I confirmed. Now why don't you go play while I talk to your grandparents? Once the kids were in the backyard, I turned to my parents. I'll take them, I said. Mom burst into tears, hugging Dad. Oh, thank you, Macy. We knew you'd do the right thing. On one condition, I continued. You both sign legal documents removing yourselves permanently from their lives and mine. No visits, no calls, nothing. Their smiles faltered. But they're our grandchildren, Mom protested. And I was your daughter, I countered. Think of it as a package deal. You get me to take care of your problem, but you lose access to all of us forever. That's cruel, Dad said, face darkening. We're trying to make amends. No, you're trying to solve your immediate problem. Those are different things, I said calmly. My lawyer will bring the papers tomorrow. You have 24 hours to decide. You can't just erase us, Dad argued. We're still their family. Family doesn't abandon family at bus stations, I replied. Family doesn't lie for 15 years. You taught me what family isn't. I won't let you teach them the same lesson. When I left, Mom followed me to my car. Please reconsider, she begged. We really have changed. Changed enough to take responsibility for 3 children? I asked. Because that's the alternative. The next morning, my lawyer called. They're desperate, she said. They'll sign anything. Excellent. After they sign, I need you to make a call. When I arrived that afternoon with the documents, both parents looked defeated. We'll sign, Dad said grimly. But I want you to know this breaks our hearts. Funny. I don't remember you having hearts, I replied. Sign on the marked lines. As they signed the guardianship transfer and legally binding no-contact agreement, I studied their faces. No remorse, only inconvenience. Now what? Mom asked, handing back the pen. Now I need to meet with Vanessa. Arrange it. Dad frowned. She's in county jail, Visitation is restricted. Figure it out, I said, standing to leave. I won't take the kids until I speak with her. 3 days later, I sat across from my sister in the county jail's visitation room. Vanessa had our mother's eyes, but looked 20 years older than her actual age. Well, look who it is, she said, smirking. Little Miss Perfect. Hello, Vanessa. You look terrible. She shrugged. What do you want? Mom says you're taking the kids. I'm considering it, I replied. Tell me why I should. Because they're family? Because they're innocent? Pick a reason, she said, examining her nails. Like I was innocent when our parents abandoned me at a bus station? Vanessa at least had the decency to look uncomfortable. I was 14. They told me you went to live with Aunt Clara. Aunt Clara doesn't exist, I said flatly. I figured that out eventually, she mumbled. Look, I'm not them. I love my kids. I just messed up. You did more than mess up. You endangered them. You neglected them. You chose drugs over them. Tears filled her eyes. I know. I'm getting help in here. I'll be different when I get out. Which is when, exactly? 3 to 5 years with good behavior. And what happens to your children in the meantime? More neglect? More instability? They have mom and dad. I cut her off. The same mom and dad who abandoned me? Who lied to you about it? Who are too old and tired to raise your kids? Those parents? She looked away. What do you want from me, Macy? I nodded slowly. Here's my offer. I'll take your children, give them the home they deserve. But you sign the same papers Mom and Dad did. Permanent removal from their lives. What? No! Vanessa slammed her hand on the table. They're my kids! Kids you abandoned to get high, I reminded her. Kids who deserve better than what we got. I'm not signing anything, she hissed. Then they go into foster care tomorrow. Your choice. I left her sobbing, feeling nothing. The next day, my lawyer called again. She's willing to sign temporary guardianship with visitation rights after release, she said. Not good enough. All or nothing. 2 days later, Vanessa signed everything. When I went to collect the children, my parents were waiting with their bags packed. We did what you asked, Dad said. Now we want to say goodbye. That wasn't part of the deal, I replied, loading suitcases into my SUV. Mom started crying. Please, Macy, just 5 minutes with them. I considered it for a moment. 2 minutes, outside only. As they hugged the confused children, I made a call. When a car pulled up, everyone looked confused. Who's that? Dad asked as a professional-looking woman approached with a folder. This is Sandra from Child Protective Services, I said pleasantly. She has some questions about why you abandoned a 12-year-old child 15 years ago. Mom paled. You reported us? After all this time? The statute of limitations hasn't expired, Sandra confirmed. We'll need statements from both of you. You can't do this, Dad shouted. We signed those papers. Those papers covered contact with me and the children, I clarified. They didn't protect you from the legal consequences of child abandonment. As Sandra led them toward her car, Mom turned back. This is your revenge? After we trusted you with the kids? This isn't revenge, I replied calmly. It's justice. The kids will be fine. They're coming home with me. You two, however, have some explaining to do. I loaded the children into my car as my parents were escorted away. Are Grandma and Grandpa in trouble? Lily asked, her small voice trembling. They made some bad choices a long time ago, I explained gently. Now they have to answer for them. Like Mom? Jacob asked. Similar, I nodded. But don't worry about them. You're coming home with me now. Forever? Jason asked cautiously. Forever, I promised. You'll never be abandoned again. During the investigation that followed, authorities discovered they'd drained my college fund before abandoning me, which added theft and fraud charges. They would face community service, probation, and mandatory restitution payments. As for Vanessa, her cooperation with authorities regarding her supplier reduced her sentence. but she wouldn't be seeing her children for years. The judge was particularly unmoved by her sob story given her history of neglect. 1 year later, the kids were thriving in our home. Andrew had become the father they never had, and Karen was their favorite aunt. We moved to a bigger house with a yard where they could play. "Aunt Macy," Lily called from the backyard where she was playing with Rocket. "Can we call you Mom someday?" The question caught me off guard. "Do you want to?" She nodded shyly. "You take care of us better than our real mom. And Andrew is way cooler than our real dad," Jacob added, kicking a soccer ball. "We can talk about that when you're ready," I told them. For now, Aunt Macy and Uncle Andrew work just fine. Last week, we received a letter from my mother, begging to see the children. I read it aloud to Andrew as we watched the kids playing outside. "What are you going to do?" he asked. I tossed the letter into the shredder. Exactly what they taught me to do. Walk away without looking back. "You're a better person than they ever were," Andrew said, kissing my forehead. "I know," I smiled, watching the children, my children now, laughing in the sunshine. I made sure of it. So I'm curious, if you were in my shoes, would you ever tell the children the truth about their mother and grandparents? Or is it better to let them build new memories without that shadow hanging over them?